Hello everybody. Today we are going to be making what I've just started calling a tri-layer twist. It takes 3 different layers to do this style, and if you look at my profile picture, that's actually the technique that I used on that cup. So I thought I would teach all of you how to do it. This is gonna take a few days to fully do, but what I'm doing is just recording each step as I go and then posting it here on YouTube. I'll splice together for one video that you can watch and see all the steps at the same time. So today, the first layer that we're going to do is the glitter, and we're going to put it down using the epoxy method. So I already have the epoxy mixed up. I only mixed up about 10 milliliters, so 5 milliliters of each part of epoxy. I use KS Resin Art Ultra UV, and I absolutely love it. So I'm gonna get started. I'll put the epoxy down and then I'll do the glitter layers. I'm gonna be using Pirate's Alley from Mr. Nola's glitter, Rosie's Gold from Bright Eyed Bling, Fricassee from Mr. Nola's glitter, Girl and Trap Queen from Nicole Marett Original, and City Lights from Glitter Junkies. So basically on this first step, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the glitter down randomly in lines until the whole cup is covered. So let's get started on that. For the epoxy method, you just put your epoxy down extremely thin, like glue. That's basically what you're using the epoxy for. And a lot of times I will actually take my cup off for this part and hold it, just because I can usually get it done a little faster that way. But that's a little harder to do on camera since I'm not used to the angles and everything. Keep spreading so it gets nice and thin. Just keep thinning, just keep thinning. I swear that song can be used for whatever you need it to be used for. And before I started the video, I had prepped this cup. So it is sanded. And I am doing this straight on stainless because I am going for a metallic look for this one. So I want it to be on a metallic base. And sanding your tumbler just allows for better adhesion with the epoxy or the paint, whatever you're putting down first. Just creates a stronger bond. And as always, do your research. Epoxy is made of chemicals, so research it and decide what you feel is adequate to wear for personal protection. I always wear gloves when handling epoxy, and when I'm not live or doing a tutorial, I wear a respirator mask. So those are for sure my recommendations, but you know, there's definitely lots of other precautions to take into consideration. Oh, and I forgot, I will also be using Resolutions from Featherbear Bling. All right, I am done with the epoxy, so I'm going to take my glove off and we will get down to glitter business. So like I said, I'm just going to do lines in different spots. Don't you worry about my glitter that's falling on the paper. I like to make Rebel mixes with my glitter that falls, so all will be good. This is not obviously something that you need to be super neat with. Keep moving. And there's no rush. The spots are always going to come back around. So all right, next one. Two more to go. Two more to go. I'm going to shake this one up a little bit, just so we get all the goodness. All right, last color. I'll just go fill up the spaces. All right, now I'm just gonna watch it come around again. Just make sure I got all the spaces filled in. Don't want to fill in faces. No filling in of faces. Just gonna run my finger around that top rim. Push the glitter down off of it. The other thing that I'll do is I'll come back in a couple of hours. Sorry about that. But the other thing that I'll do in a couple of hours, I will come back and press, of course with gloves on, press down the glitter so that it's laying nicely. The next step is that I will spray it down with Krylon triple thick spray in order to help the next epoxy layer go on smoothly and just to fill in some of the gaps so that it doesn't take quite as much epoxy to get it covered up smoothly. And then before I do the next step, like tonight, I will come down and I will put a thick layer of epoxy on here so that it's ready for the next step tomorrow, which I will then record and we'll continue on this journey. All right, we are now ready to move to step 2. And what I have done so far is put a thick coat or a flood coat, you'll hear it talked about both ways, over the glitter, let that cure. And now what I've done is put a very thin layer of epoxy over that, probably about 10 milliliters, because with this step, you are not going to want movement. You don't want movement. So the next thing I've done is I'm using micas, and I've already got them mixed up, but I have this here to show you about how much you need. So you can see it kind of piled right there. You do not need very much because you do not want these to be opaque when you put them on. You want them to be translucent because you still want to be able to see the different colors of the glitter and the sparkle underneath the micas. So the ones I've used are Woody's Goodies Silver Tongue, Woody's Goodies White Rabbit, Woody's Goodies Mr. Universe, Nicole Marett Original, her dusted line, Roxette, and then Nicole Marett Iconic Collection Hepburn. So what you do now, and as you can see, I just mixed them up in a little bit of epoxy. I'm going to use my fingers, of course, with gloves. Please do not use epoxy without protection. I'm just going to dip my finger in it. And just start swiping it on. Again, does not have to be perfect. One, because there's no such thing. And two, because what's the fun in that? And you can make these as wide or as thin as you want. And you can always come back after all the colors are on and widen out each one. Personally, what I'll do is have all of them touching. So just keep doing the same thing with each color. And I'm not great at math or dividing things up into even spaces or anything like that, so I just kind of do my best. I have 5 colors, so I just basically try to do my best getting them evenly spaced. And as you can see, I'm going at an angle to get that twist look. I'm gonna go back to the silver real quick, just bring it over. Okay. Now we'll move on. Here it comes. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but my husband's listening to polka music right now, and it always makes me laugh. Because my children think that he's trying to torture them. All right, we're getting closer. Getting closer, getting closer. And you don't ever have to rush it because it's always going to come back around. So I also wanted to mention that I waited about 45 minutes before I started doing this. Simply because, again, you don't want the movement. And I use KS resin, which I absolutely love, and it has a really long work time. So when I need to do something like this where I don't want movement on it, I wait. I wait for about 45 minutes just to avoid that movement. All right, last color, and then we'll be done with step 2. right, now I think I'm actually gonna let that go around again, and I'm gonna come back in with the silver just a little bit and fill it in. Fill it in right on the edge there. All right, there we go. And you can always, you know, put some little streaks on the bottom, or you can bring your colors all the way down, however you want to do it. There's no rules. There's no rules. All right, so there we go. We have the second layer of the twist. And so once this has cured enough, I will come back and we'll do the third step. Okay, we are now ready for layer 3. So again, what I have done is put another very thin layer of epoxy on the top, about 15 milliliters. Again, you don't want movement. You want these things to stay where you're putting them. So I don't want a whole lot of epoxy because I don't want it to start running around the cup. So what I'm doing now for the final layer is a mix of micas and glitters. So I'll be using Featherbear Bling Cullen, Featherbear Bling Smog, Woody's Goodies Hercules Golden Apple, and Woody's Goodies Silver Tongue, which we also used on the second layer. So for this, I use just one of my stainless steel stir sticks that I use to mix up my epoxy. And as you know, we have the second layer going clockwise. So for this layer, what we're doing is we're going to go counterclockwise. So what I do here is I'm just getting a little bit of this on my stir stick, and I'm just gonna start placing it in different little lines. I don't want it to be too thick because again, I don't want the movement. I want it to stay where I'm putting it. I don't want it to run. And I just keep working with the lines until I like how they look. And I will just keep going through and doing that. And like I said, I just keep playing with the lines. So both of those were the micas. And now I will go in and do some with the two microfine glitters. All right, last color. My kids are up there cheering, "Let's go Chiefs," because we just watched the Chiefs show everybody how it's done. And we're excited to watch them next week. Right, so as this spins, I just keep watching to see if there's maybe just some spots that I need to get a little more on. And like I love to tell you guys, there's no rules. So you could even, for example, go back on some of these silver streaks and put some of the gold inside of them. Because why not? That gives its own cool feature look. Because the way that micas blend together is, I find fascinating. I think it looks really cool. So. And then, of course, as always, do not forget the bottom. And like I said, on the bottom, I just kind of do a little design on there, nothing crazy. All right. So there you go. That is all 3 steps to the tri-layer twist. It's just a lot of fun because there's so much movement in it, and then with the layers you get depth. And I mean, when I make them, every time I look at them, I feel like I see something that I didn't necessarily see the last time. That looks really cool. So I hope you guys give it a try and that you enjoy it. And I will see you again soon.